Hey, greetings YouTube, performance reviews where I give you the review from the technician's point of view. And today I'm going to be talking about the Miele uprights. Particularly going to be talking about the Miele U1 Salsa, but really this review is going to be largely the same for any Miele upright. Really the only thing that separates these from the other vacuums in their lineup is warranty, color, filtration, and additional accessories. But they all share the same motor, cord length, hoses, that sort of stuff. Stay tuned throughout the entire video. I'm going to talk about the online reviews of this machine, some of the misconceptions, some of its mechanical flaws. We'll go in depth in the shop inside this machine. And we'll talk about maneuverability, stair cleaning, the cost of its expendables and maintenance costs of this machine, and who this machine's for. Now I want to start the video off by saying I used to own one of these as my daily driver for years, and really it gave me no trouble. I had it about 6 or 7 years, and then I gave it to a friend, and now he's had it for 3 or 4 years. So again, it is a very solid platform and has proved itself to be mechanically very reliable. Miele went 110 years in business without making an upright vacuum. So this was their first in-house made upright vacuum. They did test the market several years before with a Panasonic machine, but that didn't really go anywhere. So we're going to go through some of the features of the machine because it is feature rich. First off, this machine has either a 7-year plastic casing warranty or a 10-year plastic casing warranty depending on the dealer. And the bumper-to-bumper warranty also varies a little bit between model. It can be up to a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty and as low as 1 year, again, depending on where you buy it. Make sure you buy it from an authorized Miele reseller for that warranty. So we'll start top to bottom. You have on top, you have a handle with 2 different switches for carpet and bare floor. We have a long 40-foot cord. Now this cord has a quick release cord hook, and you actually pick up the cord in your hand, and then you have this clip that allows you to clip the cord wherever. So, and 40 feet on a vacuum cord is almost double what most vacuums have. The average vacuum has between 20 and 25 feet in their cord, so very long cord, which I really, really like. Now the cord does hold itself right there out of the way. It has a nice convenient carry handle right here. They're missing right now, but it does usually come with an upholstery, dusting brush, and crevice tool. We have a long stretch hose, and the stretch hose locks low in the downward position. We have a telescoping wand, and something I really like about the Miele upright is when the wand is not in use, there's actually a place to store it. A lot of vacuums don't actually have a place to store the wand when it's not in use. And this machine will follow you around, kind of like a canister, when you are using it with the hose. It doesn't tip over if you pull it like so, which is kind of a feature that was unique for it at its time, but now has become pretty standard on a lot of vacuums. What a lot of people don't know this machine has is the foot pedal. When we press it, yes, it brings the machine down and then the machine can lie flat, but more particularly if you press the foot pedal again, it will actually lift the cleaner head. So if you're going to a rug, you can lift it up and then maneuver it over the rug. So it's kind of a little hidden feature that a lot of people are not aware with the machine. On board the machine, we have a nice soft rubber bumper so that if you make contact with furniture or something, hopefully it doesn't scrape it up. We also have a nice bright LED headlamp. It has a swivel neck. This swivel neck allows it to maneuver and get around objects very nicely, which most uprights at the time when this came out didn't have, and other companies have copied like Dyson, Shark since. Let's talk about the controls because this is one of the most misunderstood features of the vacuum. What we have here is we have a high and a low, and if you've seen a canister Miele, you're familiar with the rotary knob for suction control. So when you're dusting or on an area rug, you would turn it down, but other than that, you leave it on high most of the time. Well, this machine was marked smooth, low, deep pile, and curtains, which confused a lot of customers, but really it needs to be left in the smooth setting in terms of suction. So you have this rotary dial. that's controlling the suction and the airflow. So generally you want it on smooth. And so you can see right there, carpet, hard floor. Allowing you to transition really fast. We're going to talk about the underside of the unit. So here is where what that carpet bare floor switch is actually doing. It's starting and stopping the brush roller right there. Now, you notice there's a nice shiny chrome steel base plate that helps it glide over carpet. It also self-grounds the machine. We also notice on the brush roller itself, you have these lines for you to cut with scissors or a knife and remove anything. The typical life of this brush roller is 10 to 20 years, so it's intended to last the majority of the life of the machine. The typical life of this machine is 1,000 working hours, which is typically 20 years. But I've seen these used in a lot of big homes where they are only lasting like 10, 15 years. But you get a large life out of Miele. You definitely get more than the other competitors in this price point. It's made in Germany, and you see it has soft rubber wheels. And then these on the base plate, these allow objects, small dust, that sort of thing, for edge cleaning. So that allows it to go through. Now, the U1 compared to the S7, something was added as an additional ingest bar. This keeps you from sucking up the cord, in theory. You also have a dip in the front of the base plate to allow big objects in, and a squeegee in the rear. We're going to talk about some technical aspects of the Miele upright that a lot of people won't talk about in their reviews. I think the first and foremost is the swivel neck itself is a complicated and ingenious part. The fact that they even put this into production is amazing. It's actually sonic welded right here with the glass-filled resin. So you have your intake and then your exhaust there. It goes up through the bag. You have a nice nylon seal, maybe even Teflon. It's not going to go anywhere. And then you have a nice bit of flexible stranded wires with plenty of wires in the loom, so you don't have to worry about overstressing this wiring harness. So that is perhaps one of the sturdiest swivel necks in the industry. Going down to the molded tube motor system, we have an LED light, again very good. The lower motor cools itself through that. Yes, it does have two motors, one to drive the brush, one to create suction. The suction motor is it's a Domol derivative that made specially for Miele, or Miele makes under licensing from Domol. It is a very solid motor, and then the motor is coupled to rubber motor mounts like every other Miele. So this reduces noise and vibration. This is very, very good. We also have a little piece of sound deadening material that sits in where the motor goes, so that is excellent. The motor is sealed up with a nice thick urethane gasket. This is not going to dry rot or get bad in the 1,000 working hour lifespan that this machine is intended for, which is typically about 20 years. So this will actually even last in dry climate. So this is good stuff. All of this is good stuff in here. Now, another thing that's very confusing for a lot of dealers is the rear wheels, and I'm actually not sure why it was necessary to do this, but the rear wheels move up and down. They have a metal pin going into a plastic hinge with metal gears that interact with the swivel neck. So again, I've never seen these wear out, but it is kind of a strange part of the design, but it is very solid. I have seen customers over the years drop them literally down the stairs or really slam them down, 2-3 feet above the ground, or a meter for those of you in Europe, where they can bend this. Again, it's 4 screws, it's easy to be changed. Next part I want to talk about is brush roller. I have a whole video on Miele brush rollers, so I'm not going to bore you too long. It's a glass-filled resin. It's very solid. The bearings are cooled with the suction of the machine, so again, very, very solid. And it goes into a sleeve bearing that does occasionally need lubrication, so that's something to keep in mind. And then it actually automatically adjusts with springs on either side of the brush roller. So very simple compared to some other machines we've seen. Now the suction path on this machine, it is like off center, but it is pretty much center in the way that this is swept. And then we see the brush chamber is round, so that's good as well. Now, something of contention with Miele are the switches. The old school switches were two custom made just for Miele switches, so you could have a muscle memory going. They later would switch to a commercial style switch, which is a little bit different. The other thing I like is the switch, the cord, and the handle are all one assembly, so it makes it easy to diagnose and easy for the customer to change. It's just held in with a plastic clip, so you can actually take a wedge and pull the handle out. So I do like that. Sorry, it's not made in Germany, it's made in Italy. By Italy Amtech. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just something to keep in mind. And it is an AC motor. It uses a geared belt, so you never need to change the belt. This belt is lifetime with the roller. And if you do decide to switch the roller out, it comes with the belt. So keep that in mind. So that is the in-the-shop section of the Miele upright. It's designed for the belt to last the life of the cleaner. So if you're vacuuming along, and that were to happen, you notice there's an indication right there. I'm going to turn the unit off, pull my shoe out, and we're going to turn the vacuum right back on. No harm was done to the vacuum, which means you don't have to change a belt in this machine. All right, let's talk about the expendables and bag check. There is a bag check indicator right here. Just like a gas gauge in your car, the vacuum will let you know how full the bag is. Now, to get to the vacuum bag is very easy. You pull the cover open and it stays attached, it doesn't come off. And then you just pull the bag out and change it. You notice the bag has self-sealed and that the bag holder or bag dock is the same color as the bag. What I have seen customers do, or cleaning ladies do, is they will actually put their foot on the vacuum and attempt to pull this part out thinking it was part of the old bag collar, and then you can't attach a new bag. And to give you an idea how solid this bag collar is in there, literally you can pick the machine up by it. The bag has arrows you can insert and it will clip in there like that. The gap is normal. When you close the bag, it has sealed up that gap. One of the features of the machine. They did change the bags. This is the older style that you can see that it's made from 3 different pieces of material and it's been seamed 6 different times. This was a cost to manufacturing, so they ended up changing the bags, and I'll put a picture here of the newer style bags. Now what comes when you buy a box of bags, which is 4 bags, is a pre-motor filter. So because the bags are made out of spun polyurethane, they do shed a little bit. So there is a filter on every Miele for that, or if for some reason you were to rip or cut a bag right there. So every 4 bags you change that filter. They come with the box of bags. So that is your basic maintenance that you do. Typically, in a 2,000 square foot house, one of those bags should last 2 to 3 months. In an apartment, I would go, when I had a 1,000 square foot apartment, when I had one of these, I was going through one bag like every 6 months. It was so rare that I was going through a bag. So that whole, there was extra cost with bags, or that myth is total nonsense. Not with this machine. The next thing is this machine. I've got the optional Hepa filter in here. These are sold a few different ways. Some of them have a charcoal filter just for odors, and some of them have just a pad that also comes when you buy the box of bags in there that says air clean. But they're all interchangeable. You can put the pad in the model of the Hepa, you can put a charcoal filter in any of them, or a Hepa filter in any of them. And the Hepa filter just drops in and it's installed. And the Hepa filter is good for about 50 working hours or about 1 year's worth of use. So that's about 40 inches of working vacuum. In terms of sealed vacuum, we got about 75 in terms of sealed vacuum. And we are a mile above sea level. Miele bragged when this machine first came out that it was getting 100 inches of sealed vacuum at sea level. Again, we're a mile above sea level, so that is a little different here. We're going to do our pickup test with our breakfast cereal, flour, cat litter, and animal hair. And of course, we are using our Boya precision microphone, so you have a real idea of what the machine sounds like. Well, as you can see, a little bit of flour left behind. Cat litter's gone. All the animal hair flew right in. So this does very good on hard floor. I really have no complaints with this machine for its hard floor cleaning ability. I will say kind of a cool fact is if you really wanted to get deep down or clean the hard floor, you can put a Miele tool on the end of the hose and do it that way as well. We're going to do a carpet pickup test. We have the same mess, our breakfast cereal, our cat litter, our flour, and some fresh pet hair right there. Let's see how the Miele U1 does. Well, you can see my carpet has kind of changed colors where I cleaned. It cleans very, very well. Let's make sure there's no cat litter, no flour, no animal hair. And as you can see, it did as advertised. In terms of lying flat to get under something, even if you want to get under something like that, you can, but it's not going to get all the way under something like my bed. The cool thing with the Miele is it uses accessories. I can get under things like that, or like I mentioned earlier, you can put our Miele accessories on and get under. So you do have options. So if you need to clean occasional areas like this, you definitely can. Miele U1 comes with a nice long telescoping wand. So if you need to put a dusting brush on and get up, you can. Really nice that you can just do that. Now usually if you have stairs, you do want to use a canister vacuum, but one thing that's really cool about the Miele U1 is it does have this really long stretch hose, and it comes with your standard Miele accessories, minus the crevice tool is a little bit longer on the U1. So let's see how it does on this pet hair and breakfast cereal. And you can see those lint pickers really do a great job of removing pet hair, even without a turbo. And you just suction them clean. And everything just stores right on board. Easy peasy. Now the other thing about this machine, if you do need to go up and down stairs, there is a nice carrying handle, and you can just carry them up and down very easily. In conclusion, I want to talk about some of the reviews we see on Amazon, because there's a lot of confusion about this machine, and I've explained all the features here, and I applaud you all for sitting through it. I think the number one thing that confuses people causing bad reviews is the suction control, and people mistake it for a carpet height adjustment, which it's not, and then a vacuum doesn't work properly because they have the suction too low. So as I show here with the knobs and where to set it, and leave it on the maximum setting. Again, the instructions aren't great, but when they're shown this at a dealer, we don't see these complaints from customers. The other complaint I see is maneuverability or weight. Again, this is addressed if you don't cheap out and you buy a canister versus an upright, but the point of the upright is to sacrifice maneuverability, weight, and overall parts manufactured so that you can have a more reasonably priced cleaner. And I think this machine accomplishes it very well. It's very solidly built, so of course it's not going to be extremely lightweight like an Oric, but it's really on par with just about every upright. It's no more heavier than most Hoovers or Dysons or things like that. Another thing I've seen in the comments on Amazon have been they have rolled the machine over a transition strip and bent this section in the back. That's really a cosmetic cover, but again, if you were rough with it and you roll it too far down, or if you're extremely short, that could happen. Again, common sense, pick the vacuum up rather than trying to drag it. It's like I'd see customers drag them across the parking lot and scrape half the vacuum off by the time they got to the front door. This brings me to my next complaint, which is people call customer service expecting a replacement because they messed up their own machine. No, they're not going to send you a replacement. You're going to bring it to a local dealer, and if you sucked up a Christmas tree, you have sticks in your machine, crayons, cat poop, anything like that, no, it's not going to be covered under warranty. So people expect this company to bend over backwards for something they did to their machine. So you do see those reviews. And you do need to bring it to a local service center. I see that as a problem with a lot of reviews on Amazon. People don't want to bring it to a service center because they live out in the middle of nowhere. So check to see what's close to you before you purchase. And again, if you live in the middle of nowhere, I'm sure you're used to having to drive in the city once in a while to get things done. Well, I think that just about covers all the online complaints I've seen about the machine and common returns I saw in person working at a store. So as a technician, I feel the machine's very solid. But comment below and tell me what your experience has been with Miele and with the upright. But I think the bottom line is a small to mid-size house, a ranch, an apartment. This is really an appropriate vacuum cleaner, and as of right now, I know the prices have fluctuated like the stock market on this machine over the years, but as of right now, what they're charging, I think the machine is absolutely still worth it in 2020, and I do give this a recommendation still. It's still a very feature-packed machine. So thanks for watching. Please comment below, hit the thumbs up, and share this with somebody who you know needs a good upright vacuum. And have a wonderful day.